Hello, welcome to our security update with me, Hamse Daabjeerin. Heavy fighting erupted in Somali town near Kenyan border. Ugandan troops in Somalia say they killed 189 Al-Shabaab fighters. Ethiopia's electoral poll revokes TPLF's legitimacy. Biden signs orders to end travel ban countries including Somalia. Libya finds more mass graves in city half the forces held. Hello, welcome to the program. Heavy fighting has broken out in Somali town near the Kenya border between Somali forces and those from the state of Jubaland, as Somalia's election trouble is spilled over into violence. Somalia's information ministry in a statement early Monday accused Kenya-funded rebels of crossing into the town of Bulahau and attacking Somali forces.
Heavy fighting has broken out in Somali town near the Kenyan border between Somali forces and those from the state of Jubaland as Somali election troubles into violence. Somalia's information ministry in a statement early Monday accused Kenya-funded rebels of crossing into the town of Bulahau and attacking Somali forces. But the Jubaland Vice President Mohammed Adan told reporters that Jubaland forces stationed outside the town were attacked by forces recently deployed to the region by the government in the capital, Mogadishu. Both sides have claimed victory, but people in the town said fighting continued and some people have begun to flee. The information ministry asserted that Somali forces were in control of the town. There were no immediate details on casualties. Somalia's accusation of Kenya's report to the Jubaland leader comes after Somalia cut diplomatic ties with Kenya in December to safeguard the unity and stability of the country. Somalia's president has been accused by critics of stirring up such issues to draw support as he seeks a second term.
The Jubaland state of Somalia has confirmed that its forces have fully taken control of Beled Hawo in the Geda region. For the past year, Geda region has become one of the major issues that the agreement has not yet been reached. Jubaland state of Somalia has affirmed its forces have taken control of Beled Hawo in the Geda region from the federal government troops. The Jubaland authorities have described the move as a victory for the regional state. Residents in Beled Hawo said the two sides have used heavy weapons which caused casualties and the destruction of residential homes. But the federal government of Somalia described these Jubaland troops as militia armed by the neighboring Kenya. For the past year, the Geda region has become one of the major issues that agreement has not yet been reached by the federal government of Somalia and the Jubaland state administration. Last month, Somalia government accused Kenya of orchestrating rebels inside its country to disrupt the security of Somalia, though Kenya rejected the allegation. They have also warned Kenya of measures to create instability in Somalia and the region. It has also vowed to take all necessary steps to ensure its political and territorial integrity to protect its sovereignty. The former mayor of Mogadishu, Thabit Mohammed, has urged for calm in the Geda region of Somalia and a rapid return to normalcy. On Monday, Jubaland forces claiming they had taken control of Beled Hawo in Geda from the federal government troops. Thabit Mohammed, the former mayor of Mogadishu, has called on the federal government officials and Jubaland state leaders to stop the violence in the Geda region and a rapid return to normalcy. He said the two sides must resolve differences over Geda region to end military tension. The remarks of the former mayor come hours after forces led by the Jubaland security minister attacked Beled Hawo town, where eventually the Jubaland state claimed its forces had taken control of Beled Hawo in the Geda region from the federal government troops. The federal government of Somalia described these Jubaland troops as militia armed by neighboring Kenya and accused Kenya of orchestrating rebels inside the country to disrupt the security of Somalia. Though Kenya rejected the allegation, they have also warned Kenya of measures to create instability in Somalia and the region. It has also vowed to take all necessary steps to ensure its political and territorial integrity to protect its sovereignty. A Ugandan court has ordered security forces to cease surrounding the home of opposition leader Bobi Wine, whose house arrest since a mid-month presidential election has drawn international pressure.
Troops have blocked the 38-year-old popstar turned politician from leaving his house in a suburb of the capital Kampala since he voted in the January 4th election, where he ran against long-serving incumbent President Yoweri Museveni. The judge ordered that the state and its agencies should immediately vacate his property and his right to personal liberty should be immediately reinstated, lawyer George Musisi told Reuters.
Mentally, he's better than his competitor.
Museveni, 76, who has been in power since 1986, was declared winner of the poll with 59% of the vote versus 35% for Wine, who had for years denounced corruption and nepotism in his songs. He rejected the results, alleging fraud, which the government denies. Musisi said the judge also ruled that if there were any serious allegations against Wine, he should be brought before a court or police. Police spokesperson Patrick Onyango said he had no immediate comment as the ruling had not been received. There was no immediate reaction from the government or confirmation from the court. The U.S. Ambassador Natalie Brown had tried to visit Wine at his home, drawing accusation of meddling and subversion from the Ugandan government.
The new president of the United States of America has signed a new order to end travel bans in Muslim countries, including the Federal Republic of Somalia. This decision comes just hours into his presidency.
Work immediately. As we've indicated earlier, we're going to be signing a number of executive orders over the next several days to week.
The United States President Joe Biden has signed a string of executive orders, memorandums and directives that will reverse some of his predecessor, Donald Trump's most divisive policies, including rescinding the so-called Muslim ban, which affected by many countries, including Somalia. Just hours after his inauguration at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday, Biden signed 15 executive actions that his team earlier said aimed to reverse the gravest damages of the Trump administration.
Some of the things we're going to be doing are going to be bold and vital, and there's no time to start like today. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm proud of today's executive actions. I'm going to start by keeping the promises I made to the American people.
Biden told reporters in the Oval Office that there was no time to waste. The ban was changed several times amid legal challenges and ultimately upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court in 2018. The Council on All-American Islamic Relations welcomed the decision as an important first step toward undoing the anti-Muslim and anti-immigrant policies of the previous administration. Many Somali communities have already welcomed the move and described it as a step forward into multilateralism. France's teams in Libya have discovered 10 more bodies in mass graves in a once militia-controlled town outside the capital, Tripoli, the government of National Accord said on Friday.
Forensics teams in Libya have discovered 10 more bodies in mass graves in a once military-controlled town outside the capital, Tripoli, the government of National Accord said on Friday. 3 bodies were blindfolded and their wrists bound, the GNA's Interior Ministry said in a Facebook post on the latest grisly find at Tarhuna, 80 kilometers southeast of Tripoli. The United Nations had voiced horror when the mass graves were first discovered last June. Since then, more than 120 bodies have been exhumed there, including women and children, following the latest finds. The discovery last June came a day after the withdrawal of forces loyal to Eastern Libyan strongman Khalifa Haftar from the town. Haftar had used Tarhuna as the main staging point for his failed attempt to seize the capital in a military offensive launched in April 2019. New York-based Human Rights Watch has said more than 300 people had been abducted or reported missing in the past in Tarhuna, which is now back under GNA control. Residents had reported that the local Al-Qani militia had often abducted, detained, tortured, killed, or disappeared people, said the rights watchdog. Libya has been racked by violence since a NATO-backed uprising toppled and killed longtime dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The conflict pitted the GNA, recognized by the United Nations and backed by Turkey, against the Eastern-based administration of Haftar, supported by Egypt, the United Arab Emirates and Russia. A ceasefire was signed in October, and the rival camps have been agreed to a UN-sponsored political dialogue with presidential and legislative elections scheduled for later this year.
An agreement that provides for coordination in monitoring merchant ships is suspected of violating an arms embargo against Libya by sharing satellite images and exchanging information was signed on Monday.
The working arrangement was signed during a virtual ceremony by Frontex Executive Director Fabrice Leggeri and Rear Admiral Fabio Agostini, the commander of Operation Irini. The meeting was also attended by the Director General of Immigration and Home Affairs of the European Commission, Monique Barat, according to a statement of the EU mission. Operation Irini is an important partner for us, and Frontex will provide information to overcome security issues in the Mediterranean. The EU mission statement quoted Frontex commander as saying, "At the center of their agreement are exchanges of intelligence and expertise, particularly in the coordinated use of satellite images, analysis, mobilization of specialists and tactical coordination. This cooperation is an important tool, especially for the exchange of information on merchant vessels suspected of violating the arms embargo against Libya," said Irini's statement. The Frontex agency specifies that it will share with Irini information collected in the framework of its risk analysis activities, such as the surveillance of vessels on the high seas and data from its area surveillance in the central Mediterranean. Operation Irini, launched in April, has a mandate from the UN Security Council. Its area of operation in the eastern Mediterranean has been moved away from the routes used by migrant smugglers in Libya, and its mission has been limited to monitoring arms and oil embargoes. Libya has been plunged into chaos since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi's regime in 2011. Two authorities are vying for power with foreign backings: the United Nations recognized government of national unity in Tripoli, and a power embodied by Khalifa Haftar, a strongman controlling the east. The GNA is supported by Turkey, while the Haftar camp is backed by the United Arab Emirates, Russia, and Egypt. Turkey considers the Irini mission to be biased and accuses Europe of seeking through this mechanism to prevent the delivery of arms by sea destined for Tripoli government, while ignoring those supplied by Khalifa Haftar by his allies by air and land.
A UN plane flew the bodies of Ivorian peacekeepers killed in Mali home on Friday. On the ground, the head of the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Mali, government officials and the soldiers' families waited to receive them. But we will be back after the short break.
Hello out there. Tune in to CBA TV, the voice of East Africa and beyond. There's so many people around the world who are watching along with you.
Welcome again to Security Update. A UN plane flew the bodies of Ivorian peacekeepers killed in Mali home on Friday. On the ground, the head of the United Nations peacekeeping mission in Mali, government officials and the soldiers' families waited to receive them.
A United Nations plane flew the bodies of Ivorian peacekeepers killed in Mali home on Friday. On the ground, the head of UN peacekeeping mission in Mali, government officials and the soldiers' families are waited to receive them. The head of the UN peacekeeping mission in Mali, MINUSMA, Denise Guelen-Spore, was full of praises for the fallen servicemen. Their painful departure is a reminder of the challenges faced every day on the ground in Mali. We strongly condemn these attacks against MINUSMA staff. This, he said, is a worrying development, but he must not let such events discourage them, said Guelen-Spore. At the airport in Abidjan, the men were killed when their armored truck hit an improvised explosive device (IED) during a patrol on the road to Timbuktu in central Mali in January 13. The makeshift bombs have also killed 60 UN peacekeepers in Mali. This, according to him, will be an opportunity to express to all the families that feel towards these brothers, your husbands, your parents, who pay the ultimate price, their commitment for peace for the country and for the sub-region, said Ivorian Prime Minister Hamed Bakayoko. The 13,000-strong MINUSMA peacekeeping force has suffered 146 hostile deaths since it was established in 2013.
The federal government of Somalia has strongly condemned what it describes as an act of aggression from Kenya, backing bandits of their attempt to smuggle weapons inside Somalia. The Minister of Information released a statement on Monday where they accused the Kenyan Packet fighters of crossing into Somali territory of Pellet Howell, located in the Geda region of Somalia.
The Ministry of Information released a statement on Monday where they accused the Kenya-backed fighters of crossing into Somali territory of Balad Hawa located in the Geda region. Osman Abubakar Dube, Somalia's information minister, said the fighters were met by Somali security forces who successfully repelled the attack. Tonight, Kenya-supported bandits attacked Balad Hawa, rest of Geda region. Our national army heroes defend the city and its civilian population. We strongly condemn these attacks, which are against regional stability and all international norms and laws. In English version of similar press release, the Somali government did not mention Kenya by name, but referred to as foreign entities. It has come to the attention of the federal government of Somalia that Somali and foreign entities have attempted to illegally import high-caliber weapons and ammunition into the Federal Republic of Somalia without the knowledge and permission of the Federal Republic of Somalia, they added. The statement went on to say that the actions could have destabilizing consequences in the region and that it would be conducting investigation into the origin and motives of intercepted weapons.
Abdikarim Dagachun, a district commissioner of Hodan, which is the city's most populous district, has been killed in a shooting just hours later of his return to Mogadishu from Turkey, where he has been undergoing treatment.
qoyskii qaraabadii saaxiibadii iyo bulshada Soomaaliyeed uu ka baxay Allah u naxariisto gudoomiyihii degmada Hodan marxuum Abdixakiin Cabdiraxmaan Ciise Dhagajun.
The district commissioner of Hodan, Abdikarim Dagachun, has been assassinated in Mogadishu just hours later of his return to Mogadishu from Turkey, where he has been undergoing treatment. The Somalia Ministry of Information has confirmed his death, but not further details were disclosed. Other government officials have strongly condemned the incident and asked the security forces to apprehend the perpetrators. No group has yet claimed the responsibility of this attack, but Al-Shabaab carries out similar attacks in the country and the region. Last year, Abdikarim Dagachun was taken to Turkey for treatment after he was injured by an improvised explosive device. For the past years, Somalia federal government emphasized they will intensify war on Al-Shabaab, but the group still carries out attacks in southern and central Somalia. The Central African Republic on Sunday handed over an alleged militia commander to the International Criminal Court to face accusations of war crimes and crimes against humanity.
Muhammad Said Abdelkhani, aged 50, was an alleged leader of the Salika, a rebel coalition drawn largely from the Muslim majority during violence in the country in 2013, the Hague-based ICC said in a statement. The bloodshed pitted the Salika against the mainly Christian vigilante self-defense group supportive of former President Francois Bozize, known as the Anti-Balaka, which means anti-machete. The ICC said that Said was surrendered by authorities in Bangui to the custody of court on the basis of a sealed warrant issued by one of the tribunal's judges in 2019. He is suspected of the crimes against humanity of imprisonment, torture, persecution, enforced disappearance, and other inhumane acts, and the war crimes of torture and cruel treatment, the court said. Said has not yet been transferred to the court in the Dutch city of The Hague, an ICC spokesman said. Reports said he was due to arrive in the Netherlands on Monday. The former French colony spiraled into sectarian conflict in 2013 following the ouster of former leader Bozize and remains in turmoil. Two other suspects in the violence in the Central African Republic are currently on trial at the ICC. Former anti-Balaka chief Alfred Yekatom, accused of crimes against humanity, was handed over to the ICC in 2018. He was joined in 2019 by Central African Republic football chief Patrice Edouard Ngaisona, arrested on an ICC warrant that described him as the most senior leader of the anti-Balaka.
Two separate attacks on the army in the central Mali led to the death of 6 soldiers, while about 30 suspected terrorists were killed in fightback by the Malian military with the help from French troops.
Two separate attacks on the army in central Mali led to the death of 6 soldiers, while about 30 suspected terrorists were killed in a fightback by the Malian military with help from French troops. The Malian military confirmed that the attacks took place near the border with Burkina Faso at army positions that have been targeted in the past. The army said further that about 40 motorcycles and a large amount of military weapons were seized from the attackers. In September 2019, the same army positions were targeted in one of the deadliest attacks to hit Mali since 2012, with some 50 soldiers killed. That double attack was later claimed by the main jihadist alliance in the Sahel region affiliated with Al-Qaeda. On Thursday, 3 other Malian soldiers were killed in a bomb blast in the Mandoro area. A deadly terrorist attacks began in northern Mali in 2012 before spreading elsewhere. Meanwhile, the United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has expressed concern about the deteriorating security environment, pointing to the situation in central Mali as particularly worrying. The UN has deployed to Mali its 13,000-strong peacekeeping force, which has suffered 146 hostile deaths since it was first established in 2013. The UN Security Council held a meeting earlier this month devoted to Mali's long-running crisis. Kamel Sadiq, CBA TV.
Security forces in Mali dispersed a protest in Bamako Wednesday as they fired tear gas at dozens of protesters during an unauthorized march against the French military's role in the country earlier. Bamako City Hall had planned to protest against the French military, citing COVID-19 restrictions.
Protesters on motorbikes convoy managed their way through police roadblocks. The protesters, who were in a central square of the Malian capital, fled before the canisters were fired. Mali has been struggling to defeat jihadist insurgents which first emerged in north of the country in 2012 before spreading to the center and neighboring Burkina Faso and Niger. France, its former colonizer, intervened in 2013 to help drive out the jihadist forces advancing on Bamako. Currently, it has 5,100 troops deployed across Africa's Sahel region as part of its anti-jihadist force Barkhane, but some are disturbed by their continuous presence. France's strategy is to divide in order to reign, and it is this strategy that is being applied, and we have understood who it wants to divide, the people and their leaders, whereas we want national unity. So as we have understood this strategy, we are not going to lend our flank so that today there will be repression. Earlier this month, 20 people were killed in the strike by a helicopter. Eyewitnesses claim the victims were guests attending a wedding ceremony, but France military insisted that it has struck jihadists, ruling out any possibility of a mistake. The French military's role in the country have often faced criticisms on social media and by civic leaders.
Mothers in the Tunisian capital rallied outside a courthouse to denounce the perceived arbitrary arrest by authorities of their children, including many minors, folk group and anti-government protests that saw several nights of unrest in the country.
Mariam bin Salem, the mother of an 18-year-old arrested in connection with urban unrest, is not standing for the situation at all. Some claim their children were arrested for violating the imposed coronavirus prevention nighttime curfew, while others say their children had not even participated in the demonstrations. Human rights groups state that at least 1,000 people have been detained, many without access to legal or medical assistance. Antonio Manganella, a Mediterranean director of Lawyers Without Borders, explains the current state of affairs. The protests erupted on January 14th before easing on Wednesday night as many Tunisians decry unfulfilled promises by the government and demand change 10 years after an uprising that ousted Zine El Abidine Ben Ali.
The Greek Coast Guard rescued Somali migrants who were from Turkey. One person was confirmed dead and other minor injuries. This is not the first time African migrants, including Somalis, were rescued in the Greek coasts. At least 27 Somali migrants were rescued after boats from Turkey totally stopped functioning. The Losfos Coast Guard said the migrants were planning to come to Greece to proceed their journey to other European countries. One person has been confirmed dead after the boat team managers dumped them into the ocean on early Tuesday morning. Officials have not revealed more details about the dead person, but reports say he died of a cold. The Greece islands in the Eastern Asian Sea and Lesbos are one of the access routes migrants use to reach to other European countries. Every year, many Somalis try to reach European countries. Some of them die before their destination. Lack of gainful employment opportunities for young people has been cited as major reason for youth migration in Somalia. And with that story of Somali migrants rescued in Greece, we'll wrap up our program for this time. Till next time, you can still watch security update on our social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. Thank you very much for being with us.